Hi and welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, John Kibler, head currency analyst. In this video, we're going to go through the Forex market outlook. We're going to identify a couple of charts of interest going into this week. Now, obviously, huge news over this weekend. Joe Biden is looking like he's going to be the next president of the United States. I only say that just because Trump is going to contest. The likelihood is that we're going to get a couple of recounts from a couple of states or a few states. So, but it is looking like Biden is the clear winner, and that's we should see that effect rolling into the markets going into this week. Now, two charts I really like is gold and silver. I'll go break those charts down, but essentially I think gold and silver will be good plays at the moment. Seasonally, obviously we look for that gold long opportunities as well as silver, but these two charts looking really good ever since they've broken out some key areas. Aussie US dollar as well, looking pretty good for some potential longs. I think the dollar could potentially weaken on this result. So it'd be interesting to see how they actually open, whether we'll get many gaps in the market or anything like that. But essentially, we'll have a little look when that comes through. So just going to Aussie, because we have a couple of technical opportunities through here which I quite like. I like the fact that price recently retested this 0.7 level. Obviously this week this sort of area was a huge talking point for us. Were we going to get that breakout to the downside on a Trump victory, or if Biden won, what would happen to Aussie? Will we see that Aussie get stronger? Because likelihood is that the trade war between the US and China will likely come to an end, or at least some pressure will be relieved there, and we started to see that Aussie strength coming through. So I think that's going to follow on through into this week, and what I'll be looking for is potential long opportunities on pullbacks, and the nice area here 0.7160, these previous structure highs will be a good area to look for that position. If price comes down into here, we start seeing some buying action going on, there could be an opportunity to trade long. Also like this, if we look at the RSI, nice little breakout of the trend line here. Could we see prices come back into here on the RSI, match up with that previous structure high and bounce to the upside? Could potentially see something like that going on here, but I like the opportunity here on Aussie to retest that 0.74. Obviously, euro dollar as well is going to be a huge talking point, and we actually saw a breakout of this recent trend line. Now, there is a little bit of a move going on with the RSI. We've got this sort of upward sort of channel going on here on the RSI, which suggests that we could see a little bit of a bit of resistance holding on here. But this key area is going to be interesting anyway. It hasn't quite taken out the highs yet. That 119.16 sort of area is something that, if price was to break through, I think we're going to see further weakening of the dollar, see euro US dollar head to the upside. But unlike Aussie, we haven't actually had that break of highs just yet. We're actually back at this resistance point. So I really want to see that breakdown form in order to be long the euro US dollar. If that doesn't happen, then we're likely going to stay within this sort of little consolidation pattern we've created here at the moment. But looking for that potential for the market to break to the upside in here, looking good. So going on to gold, obviously gold was a focus point for us last week. We talked specifically about a couple of different areas of support which we'd like to be buyers from. Price didn't quite make it to the area where I really wanted to be a buyer of, but that was obviously me just looking for that overextended area. I thought the volatility of the election would cause price to drop into this overextended area where we'd look for those long positions. That didn't follow through. Price remained capped around this 1850. We've now broken into new highs. We've broken out of these trend line resistances around about 1925, 1930. So I'm looking for prices to come back in, maybe retest that structure and bounce to the upside. Looking for those long opportunities now on gold. If we go into the 4-hour time frame, we've got the 50 and the 200 moving average crossing, and if we look back in sort of the recent history of gold and just look at those areas where it's crossed, bullish on the 50 and the 200 moving average, is we've got some decent rallies off the back of that most recently. So I'm looking for a similar thing to happen again on gold, looking for prices to break out. Now we do have like a nice sort of trend line support running in. That kind of comes in around about 1926. This horizontal zone as well, brilliant sort of zone, which we've already kind of discussed about the daily chart. But this zone in here is kind of narrowing things down into a lot more detail. If price was to pull back into this zone through here and the 50 and the 200 were spreading out at this point, this would be a good opportunity to go long on gold. So looking for a pullback into sort of that 1930 area here. Very similar on silver. Silver's looking really nice as well. We've got similar traits going on here. The fact that price is sort of working within this consolidation pattern. We haven't broken out of sort of the main trend line through here, but we've broken out of this shorter term trend line. Again, if we look at the RSI indicator, we've broken out of the highs on the RSI. That is also a potential sign of some upside. You know, a lot of pro traders use the RSI as support and resistance rather than looking at it as just overbought and oversold, but that's something we can talk about later in the week. But I like the opportunity here, price breaking out. I like the fact that the price hasn't really taken out any of these lows. It's just kind of kept within this sort of zone through here. Price didn't really struggle at this point. It just kept bouncing. So now we're starting to see that breakout to the upside. I think we're going to see longs coming in on silver as well. Very similar to gold. I'll be looking for some pullback continuation moves on this. The trend line, short-term trend line resistance here, if I was to draw that a little bit better off these previous structure highs, don't know if it'll let me, might have to redraw that. So if I just go off these tips of wicks through there just to make it a little bit more accurate. So that's coming in around about sort of the 2470s, 2460s sort of zone. So if price could make it down back to this point, I'll be looking for those long opportunities on silver as well. I think there's some really good potential opportunities on silver and gold for some decent moves coming into the end of the year. So those will be our sort of main focus going into this week. Obviously be a little bit careful with our currencies. We don't know what's going to happen again with regards to Trump contesting the outcome. He's not going to leave without a fight, let's put it that way, and that could cause some volatility in the markets as well, which we need to be aware of. So yeah, hopefully we see some decent trading opportunities. Dollar, I think, is going to weaken in this outcome, but I think we're going to see some gold and silver longs, which could offer us some decent risk-reward ratios. Thanks for watching this video update. Thanks for watching the Forex Market Outlook with me, John Kibler, Head Currency Analyst. If you have any comments or questions, drop them in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you soon.